Have you ever woken up and felt like something heavy was sitting on your chest? Like the light had faded not just from the sky, but from inside you, like joy. Just vanished. And no matter how hard you try, you can't remember what it feels like to be okay. If you've ever felt that way, you're not alone. Now, imagine if that feeling had a shape, a name, a face, a creature that feeds on your peace, your hope, your happiness. In the world of Harry Potter, they call it a Dementor, but in our world, we might call it something else, depression. Meet the Dementor. Let's go back to the third book in the Harry Potter series, The Prisoner of Azkaban. That's where we meet the Dementors for the very first time. These creatures, they aren't just scary. They're described as the foulest beings on Earth. They don't speak, they don't think, they don't kill in the way monsters usually do. Instead, they do something worse. They suck the happiness right out of the air. They steal warmth, hope, peace, and all that's left is cold, numbness, emptiness. When a Dementor is near, you don't just feel afraid, you feel like joy never existed, like light was never real, like the world will never be okay again. And that's the part that hits hardest, because for anyone who's experienced depression, that description, it's not fantasy, it's familiar, it's real. The heaviness, the fog, the chilling silence inside, that sense that nothing good has ever happened and nothing good ever will. J.K. Rowling, the author behind Harry Potter, has shared her own journey with depression. She once said she created Dementors as a reflection of what it felt like. And when you read her words, when you see what Dementors do in the story, you understand just how accurate that reflection is. It's not about being sad, not exactly. It's about the absence of anything, the lack of color, the loss of meaning. It's walking through life with a weight on your chest and ice in your veins. It's smiling at someone while inside you're screaming into a void. In the books, people collapse when Dementors get too close. They faint, they break down, they lose consciousness entirely. And in real life, depression can feel the same. You're not lazy, you're not weak, you're under attack by something that doesn't leave bruises, but leaves marks just the same. And that's why Dementors matter. Because they gave a face, a terrifying, soul-sucking face to something so many people feel but can't explain. They made the invisible visible. And when something becomes visible, when it has a name, a shape, a form, then maybe, just maybe, we can begin to fight back. The chill of despair, depression doesn't always come crashing in like a storm with thunder and lightning. Sometimes it creeps in like a quiet fog, soft, silent, slow. You don't notice it at first. Maybe you're just tired. Maybe you're just off today. Maybe tomorrow will feel better. But then tomorrow comes and it feels the same. Like everything is a little bit dimmer, a little bit heavier. Like someone took the color out of the world, but no one else seems to notice. It's not always about tears, or shouting, or falling apart in front of others. Sometimes, depression is invisible. It looks like someone sitting quietly at dinner, but feeling like they're made of glass. It looks like a smile that takes too much effort to hold. It feels like numbness, not sadness, just the absence of anything. No joy, no anger, just blank. It's like being frozen. The world keeps spinning. People laugh. Music plays. Life goes on. But inside you feel like you're standing still, like Harry on the train. When the Dementor draws near, he doesn't scream. He doesn't run. He just sits there, paralyzed, because that's what despair does. It takes away your ability to fight, to move, to care. It tells you that nothing matters, that you're alone in how you feel, that no one would understand. And that's the cruelest part, because when you're numb, when everything inside you feels frozen, you don't even have the energy to ask for help. But let me tell you something. If you're feeling that way, if the chill of despair is sitting beside you today, it doesn't mean you're broken. It means you're human. And it means something inside you is hurting more than words can explain. And even if you can't feel it right now, you are still worthy, still needed, still deeply, deeply loved. The fog might not lift tomorrow, but it won't last forever. Even in the coldest winters, the sun always finds a way back in, and so will you, out of nowhere, sometimes. Depression doesn't give you a warning. It doesn't knock on the door or send you a message ahead of time. It just arrives, uninvited, unexpected, unrelenting. One moment, you're doing okay, maybe even laughing with a friend, driving with the music up, watching the light hit the trees just right. And then something shifts. A thought, a memory, a single moment you didn't see coming. And suddenly, it's like the sky darkens, like the air gets heavier, like a cold hand reaches into your chest and starts pulling everything bright away. It doesn't always make sense. You try to trace it back. What triggered this? What did I do wrong? Why now? But there's no clear answer, no logic, no pattern. That's the thing about depression. It can come out of nowhere, just like the Dementors. 1 second, Harry is on the train, safe, surrounded by friends. Everything seems fine. Then, the air changes, the light fades, and without warning, the darkness slips in. For those who struggle with depression, this is a familiar kind of fear. Not the loud kind, but the quiet, creeping dread of not knowing when the next wave will hit. It keeps you on edge, makes it hard to trust the good days, makes you wonder if peace is ever permanent. And that uncertainty, it's exhausting. But please remember this. It's not your fault. You didn't summon this feeling. You didn't do anything wrong. Mental health doesn't follow rules. It doesn't always respond to reason. But what you're feeling, it's real. And just because it came out of nowhere doesn't mean you have to face it alone. Sometimes the most important thing is not to figure out why it came, but to remind yourself that it will pass. And until it does, you can sit quietly, you can breathe, you can hold on, or let someone hold on for you. Because the darkness may come out of nowhere, but so can light, and hope has a way of returning when you least expect it. The kiss of hopelessness in the Harry Potter world. There's something even worse than a Dementor's presence. It's called the Dementor's kiss. It doesn't just steal your happiness. It takes your soul, leaves you empty, hollow, unable to feel anything ever again. It's the ultimate loss, not of life, but of what makes life feel worth living. And while we don't face magical creatures in our world, some of us know exactly what that kind of emptiness feels like. When depression goes too deep, when the weight becomes too heavy, it can feel like something inside you has gone missing. Not just joy, but purpose, energy, even the will to go on. It's the kind of pain that doesn't scream. It whispers in the quiet hours when no one is around, when the world is asleep, but your mind keeps spinning and the thoughts start to spiral. Will this ever end? Does anyone really see me? Would it even matter if I disappeared? These are not just thoughts. They're signs that someone is hurting far more than they let on. That hopelessness isn't weakness. It's a signal, a cry for care, a call for help, even if it's never spoken out loud. You see, the danger of depression isn't always the pain itself. It's the lie that pain tells you that you're alone, that no one would understand, that there's no way out. But here's what I need you to hear. Those are lies. There is a way out. There are people who care. Even if you can't feel their love right now, it's still there. It hasn't left you, and neither has your soul. Even if it feels distant, even if it feels silent, you are still here, still breathing, still fighting, even if that fight looks like just getting out of bed or simply staying alive. You are not beyond saving. You are not too far gone, and the hopelessness you feel, it doesn't define you. It will not last forever because your soul, is stronger than the darkness, and help is closer than you think. It could be a friend, a hotline, a therapist, a moment of courage to say, I'm not okay, and that moment, that tiny light, could be the beginning of finding your way back. The power of the Patronus. In the world of Harry Potter, there's only one spell strong enough to drive away a Dementor. It's called the Patronus charm, a bright, silvery light that bursts from the wand, taking the form of an animal that reflects the very soul of the caster. It's beautiful, powerful, protective. But here's the catch: you can't summon it with strength alone. You can't fake it. You can't force it to create a Patronus. You have to think of your happiest memory. Not just any memory, not just a nice day or a fun moment. It has to be the memory, the one that fills your chest with warmth, the one that makes your eyes close and your breath catch because it was that full of love. When Harry first tries, he thinks about flying, a thrilling achievement, a moment of pride, but it's not enough. The spell flickers, then fades, because sometimes accomplishments don't carry us through the darkness. What does is connection. It's when Harry remembers his parents, the love they gave, the way they made him feel safe, seen, loved. That's when the magic works. And in our world, that's true too. We may not cast actual spells, but we can call on something just as real. The memory of someone holding your hand when you were scared, the laughter of your child, the way your dog greets you like you're the best thing in the world, the feeling of being wrapped in a warm hug that said, without words, you matter. These are our Patronus moments. They remind us who we are beneath the fog, beyond the fear. They don't erase the darkness, but they light a path through it. And just like Harry, we may need to try more than once. We may fail the first time or the second, but the more we reach for the light, the easier it becomes to find. So if you're in the dark today, ask yourself, what memory brings you warmth? Who makes you feel safe? What moment made you feel loved? Not for what you did, but simply for who you are. That is your Patronus, and you can call on it right here, right now, even if it's just for a flicker, because even the smallest light can hold back the deepest shadow. Why connection matters. There's a reason why our Patronus memories don't usually come from trophies or paychecks or perfectly curated social media moments. They come from people, from moments of closeness, kindness, love. Because when depression comes, when it clouds our minds and numbs our hearts, one of the first things it tries to steal is connection. It tells us we're a burden, that no one cares, that isolation is safer, quieter, easier. But that's the trap, because isolation feeds the darkness, and connection, real, meaningful connection, is the light that breaks through. Science tells us this, too. When we spend time with people we trust, when we feel understood, loved, accepted, our brains release a hormone called oxytocin. Some call it the cuddle chemical, others the love hormone. But what it really is healing. Oxytocin calms anxiety, lowers stress, builds a sense of safety inside the body. It reminds your nervous system you're not in danger anymore. You're not alone. Even small moments can do this. A shared laugh, a warm hug, a text that says, "Just thinking of you." These may seem simple, ordinary, but in the middle of a mental health battle, they can be life-saving, because when we connect, we come back into the world. We remember that we matter, that our presence means something to someone else. And even when the pain doesn't disappear, it becomes just a little bit more bearable when we don't have to carry it alone. So if you're struggling, don't wait until you feel better to reach out. You don't need to have the perfect words. You don't need to explain everything. Just send a message, make the call, open the door. Connection doesn't demand that you be whole. It simply asks that you show up as you are, right now, even broken, even tired, even afraid, because the people who truly love you don't need you to be perfect. They just want you to stay, to keep breathing, to hold on, and through them, through their presence, their voices, their care, you'll feel the magic again, not from a wand, but from something far more powerful. Human love, human connection, your own light reflected in someone else's eyes, building your real life Patronus. So now we know the strongest Patronus isn't made of magic. It's made of memory, of love, of connection. But how do we build that in real life? In the middle of our darkness, when we feel tired, disconnected, or maybe even invisible, the answer, surprisingly, starts small. You don't need to wait for a perfect day or a life-changing moment. You can start with what you already have. Think about a memory, just one that made you feel safe. It could be something simple, the sound of your grandmother's voice, a walk in the autumn breeze, the first time someone looked at you and truly saw you. Close your eyes, breathe into that moment. Let it wrap around your heart like a blanket. That is the beginning of your Patronus. Now ask yourself, what brings you even a spark of light today? Maybe it's a favorite song that makes your toes tap, even when your mind is tired. Maybe it's sitting under the sun, letting its warmth soak through your sleeves. Maybe it's calling someone who always knows how to say the one sentence that makes you feel okay again. Whatever it is, lean into it, let it grow. And know this, you don't have to feel ready to begin. You just have to start. Even if you don't believe it will help. Even if your depression says it's pointless. Even if your energy is low and your heart feels far away. Because sometimes healing begins not when we feel hope, but when we practice it. When we choose again and again to reach for the light, even if our hands shake. That's how you build your real life Patronus. One gentle step, one honest conversation, one act of kindness toward yourself. And remember, you don't have to do it alone. Let others be part of your light. Let their love reflect what you've forgotten, that you are not darkness, you are not despair. You are a spark, still burning, still alive, still capable of casting something beautiful and bright. When the charm doesn't work, but what happens when you try and nothing changes? When you reach for that memory, that moment, that spark, and all you feel is emptiness. When you whisper your favorite quote, play your favorite song, light a candle, call a friend, and still the darkness lingers. Here's what I want you to know. It doesn't mean you failed. It doesn't mean the magic is gone. It just means this is a hard day, and hard days happen, even to the strongest of us, even to Harry. You see, in the story, he couldn't cast his Patronus on the first try, or the second. He fell, he struggled, he doubted himself, but every time he tried again, he got a little closer, a little stronger. That's how it works for us, too. The Patronus of healing is not a one-time spell. It's a practice, a process, a slow return to the parts of ourselves that got buried under pain. So if your light didn't come today, please don't give up. Your effort still matters. Your courage still counts. Sometimes the healing isn't in the result, it's in the trying. And if the charm won't come from you today, it's okay to lean on someone else's. Let their hope carry you. Let their words be your light. Let their presence be your protection until you can stand again. There's no shame in that, no weakness. It's what love was made for, to stand in the gap between you and the dark. And here's the truth, even if the fog stays for now, even if you don't feel it yet, the light is still here. Your light is still here. Rest if you need to. Cry if you need to. Be still. Be soft. And know that this hard moment isn't the end of your story. It's just a page, a pause, a breath, and you're allowed to keep going at your own pace. You are not alone. If you're listening to this right now and you feel like you're barely holding on, I want you to hear me clearly. You are not alone, even if your thoughts tell you otherwise. Even if the silence around you feels loud. Even if it seems like everyone else is fine while you're just trying to breathe. You are not weak for feeling this way. You are not broken for having days when getting out of bed feels impossible. You are human. And being human means we all carry pain. Some of us just carry it quietly. But you're not invisible. You're not forgotten. There are people right now who would care if they knew what you were going through. People who would sit with you in the dark, hold space for your silence, and remind you that you matter. Maybe you haven't met them yet. Maybe they're closer than you think, but they exist. And you don't have to face this night alone. There are helplines, therapists, friends who are just waiting for a message that says, "Hey, can we talk?" There are strangers online sharing their stories not to show off, but to say, "I've been there too, and you can get through this." And here's what I believe. The simple act of listening to this right now, of staying with me, means something in you still wants to keep going. Even if it's small, even if it flickers, it's still hope. And that hope, as quiet as it may feel, is real. You don't need to have all the answers today. You don't need to fix everything tonight. You just need to take the next breath then maybe the next. Then maybe tell someone how you feel, even if all you say is, "I'm not okay," because that's enough. That's brave. That's a beginning. And from there, healing becomes possible. Light starts to return, and you remember you've never been truly alone, not in the ways that matter most. Chocolate helps too. There's a moment right after Harry faces a Dementor when Professor Lupin hands him something simple, something ordinary, something sweet, a piece of chocolate, not a potion, not a spell, just chocolate. And it's not a joke, it's care, it's comfort, it's connection. Because sometimes what we need most in the dark isn't a grand solution. It's a small kindness, a warm blanket, a favorite song, a friend who doesn't need you to explain. A walk under the sky, a silly meme that makes you laugh for the first time in days. And yes, a square of chocolate can be part of that too. It's not about fixing everything. It's about reminding you that sweetness still exists, that joy is still possible, that you are still worthy of comfort. So if today feels heavy, if the shadows feel close, offer yourself one small act of gentleness. Eat something you love. Listen to something beautiful. Move your body in a way that feels kind, or simply rest without guilt, without pressure, because you are doing more than you know, surviving, caring, healing, even in stillness. And when it's hard to believe in light, borrow someone else's. Let them hand you hope the way Lupin handed that chocolate. No explanations, no expectations, just a quiet reminder that you matter, that you are not alone, and that, even on the hardest days, there is still something sweet waiting for you. Maybe not to fix the pain, but to remind you that the pain won't last forever. So breathe, take your time, hold on to whatever light you can, and don't forget, chocolate helps too. If this story touched your heart or reminded you of someone you love, take a moment to share it. You never know who might need to hear this today. And if you're walking alongside someone with dementia or carrying that journey in your own family, you are not alone. We're building a space here for stories, for support, and for healing. So please leave a comment below. Tell us your story. Tell us their story. And if you'd like more moments like this, subscribe so we can keep walking this road together. Because sometimes a little understanding can make a big difference. And your presence here already means more than you know. Mota dementia isn't just a medical condition. It's an emotional journey, not only for those diagnosed, but for their families, friends, and caregivers. In this video, we explore how the magical world of Harry Potter can help us understand the invisible battles of dementia through the symbol of the Dementor. Whether you're someone caring for a loved one with dementia, or you're simply trying to understand what it feels like to slowly lose pieces of memory and identity, this story is for you. We walk gently through the fog, sharing compassion, moments of hope, and the quiet power of connection. Dementia can feel isolating, but you're not alone. This space is here for shared stories, gentle reminders, and warm support. If you've been touched by dementia in any way, we hope this video brings you comfort and understanding. Please share this with anyone who might need a little light today. Let's build a kind, informed community together. Hashtags dementia, mental health, awareness, had memory loss, caregiving, Journey, emotional healing, storytelling for healing. You are not alone. Warmth and compassion, Harry Potter metaphors, understanding, dementia,